There is a specific kind of person who, when a motorcycle refuses to start, doesn't call anyone. They don't scroll through forums. They crouch down next to the machine, and something shifts in their face. Not frustration, not panic. Something that looks almost like focus finally finding its target. If you ever wondered psychology of people who know how to work on motorcycles, welcome. When someone learns to work on a bike, truly work on one, not just ride one, something happens to the way they think. It happens in a garage, or a parking lot, or the side of a road somewhere, with grease on their hands and a problem that refuses to cooperate. That environment does something specific. It builds a kind of confidence that cannot be performed and cannot be borrowed from someone else. Most people, when something breaks, find someone to fix it. There's nothing wrong with that. But people who work on motorcycles made a different decision at some point, consciously or not. They decided the machine was knowable, that if they stayed with it long enough, it would give itself up. That decision, which looked like a decision about carburetors and jets and timing, was actually a decision about reality itself. This is where the psychology starts. The human brain responds differently to mechanical problem solving than to almost any other kind of thinking. When someone diagnoses why an engine won't fire, they're not just collecting information. They're building a mental model of something invisible. People who have this kind of knowledge tend to trust their own perception over received authority. They've been in situations where the expert was wrong. And then there is the relational dimension. Because most people who work on motorcycles didn't learn alone. They learned next to someone. A father on a Saturday with the bike on its center stand. An older rider who said almost nothing but handed over a tool and stepped back. A friend who didn't explain, just showed. These weren't lessons. There was no curriculum. What was being transferred wasn't only technical. It was a way of being with difficulty. A relationship to a problem that didn't include walking away from it. The motorcycle was the medium. The actual content was something harder to name. This is why mechanical knowledge around bikes becomes identity in a way that most skills don't. When a skill enters through a relationship, it carries emotional weight that no tutorial can replicate. The specific make, the specific model, the specific machine that was first worked on, it's remembered with biographical precision, not because of the bike, because of what was happening between those two people in that garage during that particular chapter of life. And then there is one more layer. The one that explains why so many people disappear into the garage on hard days. Working on a motorcycle offers something almost impossible to find anywhere else in modern life. A problem with a real answer. Not a meeting that might have gone well. Not a project that depends on who you ask. An engine that wasn't running and now is. That is not a matter of interpretation. The feedback is absolute. For people who spend most of their lives navigating subjective evaluation, uncertain outcomes, and systems that don't respond to effort in any predictable way, the garage is something close to radical. It is a place where reality gives a clear answer, where patience has a direct result, where the work and the outcome are still connected. This is why working on a motorcycle functions as psychological regulation. If you think you are one of this person, hit the subscribe and like button. The question worth sitting with isn't whether you can work on an engine. The question is what in your own life you've been standing in front of, waiting for someone else to come along with the answer, when the only way it was ever going to get solved required your own hands.